Okay, so let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our blended seminar organized by West Kazakhstan Innovative Technological University and the TEO Public Association. Today's topic is transformation in learning methods and the teaching training. So my name is Möldір Rahımжанова. I'll be moderator of today's session. Let me remind quick words before we start our presentation. So notes for online participations. Participants, the session will be recorded and you can use our chat box to share your comments and ask questions. So we kindly ask you to mute your mics during the session. Hope you will enjoy the session and each one listen to each other carefully. So today we'll discuss modern methods of teaching English and consider ways of improving teaching skills. We hope today's session will help all participants enrich their knowledge and the experience, increase the population of English teachers in West Kazakhstan with foreign experts, represents also U.S. Embassy, qualified teachers of the region, and the city. So to open our session, I would like to invite the Dean of Faculty, Languages and Management, Associate Professor Romanova Aygul Abublan, and our student Dana will translate her speech from Kazakh to English.
Қайырлы күн семинарға қатысушылар, қонақтар. Бүгінгі семинар білім беру үдерісі мен ұстаздарды даярлаудағы өзгерістер тақырыбына арналып отыр. Міне бүгінгі күн тұрғысынан алғанда өзекті мәселе, сол осындай өзекті мәселені бүгін сіздер мен біздер болып осы семинарда талқылаймыз. Сондықтан да семинар жұмысына сәттілік тілейміз.
Good afternoon, dear participants and the guests. Today's seminar is devoted to the topic of transformation in the learning process and teacher guests, teacher trainings, and this is a crucial topic today. I wish good luck in conducting the seminar.
Okay, thank you very much, Dana. So I would like to give next speech to our guest speakers. This is the Assistant of the Cultural Affairs Officer, U.S. Embassy, John Orak, and the Coordinator of English Language Programs, U.S. Embassy, Ольга Патерова. They will tell us about the U.S. Department of State English Language and Education programs. So the floor is yours.
Okay, good afternoon. It is such a pleasure to join you during this conference. As it's been said, my name is John Orak, and I work as the Assistant Cultural Affairs Officer at the U.S. Embassy in Astana. I've had the pleasure of visiting Uralsk. It was my first trip outside of the capital, and I would have to say it was one of the warmest welcomes I've had in any place I've gone. And it's unfortunate that I am joining online. I would much rather prefer to be in person, but we will look forward to an opportunity to come visit the university. With that, I would like to thank West Kazakhstan Innovation and Technological University for inviting us to participate and to share some of the opportunities that the embassy offers to English language teachers, to students, as well as educators in any field. I think that the topic that was mentioned, transformations in learning methods and teacher training, is very important and very relevant. And it is also a goal of the U.S. mission to Kazakhstan to help in building capacity for teachers, both English language teachers, but also teachers of other subjects such as STEM, for science and technology development. We actively have programs that we can share a little bit about that are happening in various regions, but the couple of resources that I want to just mention off the top, I think many of you may have had the opportunity to visit the American Corner in Uralsk. There are lots of sessions that are offered, for English language and language learners and speaking clubs. And within that, we actually have 2 Fulbright English teaching assistants who are living in Uralsk. They are based out of two other universities, Genghis Khan University and West Kazakhstan State University, but they are also a local resource that both, secondary school teachers be able to take advantage of, as well as university teachers as well. So I encourage you, if you haven't had the opportunity to meet with them, to do so. Before I continue, I want to turn it over to my colleague Olga for a brief introduction, and then we're going to share some information about programs that the embassy offers on behalf of the Department of State. So Olga, over to you for a brief introduction.
Thank you, John. Dear participants of the conference, let me congratulate you on such a nice event. We are really glad that you are very active in Uralsk, and as I understood, some of you are a part of Association of English Language Teachers in Uralsk. It's great. My name is Olga Paterova, and I am a coordinator of English language programs at the embassy, which is located in Astana. I'll be glad to tell you a little bit more about English language programs of the US Embassy, and I'm sure that you'll find a lot of interesting for yourselves. Thank you very much. John, back to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Olga. So we'll go ahead and start with the presentation that we have prepared. And so obviously the opening slide here is U.S. Department of State with the Educational Cultural Affairs Bureau. These are exchange programs that are available for educators, but I think we're going to mention some for professionals and students as well, because a lot of this is going to be relevant to those of you who may be teaching or interacting with those who could qualify or be eligible. So let's go ahead and move forward. Next slide. Okay, thank you. So here's just a kind of a snapshot of some of the programs and their logos. So we'll take some time to go through a few of them. Okay, next slide. But before we talk about the programs themselves, how can you find information about what's out there for anybody? We have lots of education and cultural exchanges that are announced on our website. So please do take note at kz.usembassy.gov. And there is a tab for education and cultural programs that you can click. If you can go to the next slide. And then you will have a list of those programs and opportunities. If we can just go to the next slide. Yep. So here's a list of some of those said opportunities. I know that there are other opportunities that will be populated with time. Okay, if we can go to the next slide. All right, the first opportunity is for secondary school teachers. It's called the Fulbright Teaching Excellence and Achievement Program, which we commonly just refer to as Fulbright T. It gives school teachers an opportunity to participate in a 6-week professional development program in the United States, which includes training and seminars, professional development at a U.S. university, and they get to participate as well in an internship at a U.S. secondary school. The recruitment is for fall and spring programs. It starts in November, December, and then the deadline is typically in March. So unfortunately, we have passed on this, but it is important to make note of this for the next round. For those who may be interested in participating, we do tend to get quite a few applications, but don't let that discourage you, because we do like to give preference to teachers who are outside of the capital areas in the regions. So don't hesitate and give it a shot. Next slide, please. The Hubert H. Humphrey Fellowship Program is geared towards mid-career professionals. So it provides a 10-month enrichment experience in the United States. It is non-degree academic study, and there are components of leadership development that are incorporated. Basically, it's for those who are at the midpoint in their career, who have demonstrated, commitment to a particular field and leadership. And it's geared towards those in public service in either the public or the private sector. We have 14 partners in the United States that participate in this program. The program will open in April, and we'll have a deadline in June. So for those who may be interested, please do consult our website for more details and how to apply. Next slide, please. So we have a program called Tech Women. which focuses on empowering women in STEM fields, those fields that have been traditionally dominated by men. We are, through this program, giving an opportunity for 5-week exchange in the United States, where women have the opportunity to engage with other American women who are working in the tech sector and develop a network with those in the United States, but as well as those from around the world. It's a global program, and they have an opportunity to continue this relationship with mentorship from leading American tech specialists and other STEM fields. The program opens in November and it has a deadline in January. So stay tuned for that one in the future, but it's also geared towards women who are STEM practitioners. Next slide, please. We have a program called Community Solutions for Community Service Leaders. It's a 4-month based fellowship where those who are selected are matched with nonprofit organizations in the United States, and they get to work with their colleagues in the United States on issues related to challenges that they face in their communities. The 4 technical areas that are offered are environmental issues, tolerance and conflict resolution, transparency and accountability, and women and gender issues. The deadline is October, so stay tuned for the next cycle. Next slide, please. The Fulbright Visiting Scholar Program, which may be of interest to university professors, it brings accomplished Kazakhstani scholars to the United States to conduct research, or in some instances to deliver lectures for a period of up to 1 academic year. It can be a short-term 1-semester grant, or it could be the full 10 months. The deadline is typically in November. Next slide, please. The Fulbright Foreign Student Program is for successful undergraduates who would like to undertake a graduate study in the United States. They should have at least 2 years of professional experience, work experience, to earn a master's degree. The master's degree can be in almost any field other than medical sciences. The program opens in February, and the deadline will be in May and June, so it's currently open. Next slide, please. The Fulbright U.S. Scholar Program, it gives opportunities for American professors and university faculty to travel to Kazakhstan to partake in either research or to deliver lectures. It is a good opportunity if the university has any interest with an American institution and would like to bring faculty. It can be used as a vehicle to host a U.S. professor at your university. So something to consider, although you cannot apply directly, but if you have a contact in the United States who might be interested in working at the university, this could be a good vehicle. Next slide, please. The Fulbright English Teaching Assistant Program, which I mentioned from the beginning, we actually have 2 who are currently based in Uralsk. It gives undergraduate students who have completed their degree an opportunity to teach English as native speakers and to participate in cultural programming in their regions. We are limited by the number of how many that we can host in Kazakhstan. This year, we actually are hosting a record number. It's 15, which is fantastic. I think for the following year, we're going to be looking at a reduced number, but we're always looking for partners who are interested in hosting a native speaker at the university. So we could potentially discuss this as a possibility for the university, but depending on resources and other conditions. Next slide, please. So the Community Engagement Exchange Program is geared towards those who are 20 to 27, and it's a year-long leadership development program for those who are interested in working in civil society, especially in developing networks, relationships, learning information about public good, and learning from American peers throughout the process. The deadline for that program is December. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have a program called the U.S. Kazakhstan University Partnerships. My colleagues who run the program just simply refer to it as the University Partnerships Program. It gives the opportunity for American universities and Kazakhstani universities to collaborate and build institutional linkages through small grants that are offered. It is a competitive program. Typically, the amount of money is around $40,000, but it can include building expertise in strategic planning, administration, faculty policies and practices, in student mobility, curriculum development, and also alumni relations. The deadline to apply for this program is December. If you are interested in that, there is typically a network session that is offered to introduce Kazakhstani universities to American counterparts so that they could get to know each other better and potentially put together a proposal for the program. So I encourage you to explore this as an opportunity. Next slide. So the Future Leaders Exchange student, for those of you who are secondary school teachers, this is an excellent opportunity for high school students to learn about American culture firsthand and get an opportunity to study in an American high school, and even more so, having an opportunity to live with an American host family. I know that we have lots of students who have participated from the West region and specifically Uralsk, but it is a fantastic opportunity for those in the 8th, 9th, and 10th grade. The program is currently in the selection phase, but the deadline to apply will be in October. So I encourage you to share this opportunity with your students, when the next academic year starts so that they could potentially apply. Next slide, please. So I mentioned the Tech Women program. We also have one that is geared towards advancing, girls in STEM. So the Tech Girls program is geared towards high school students between the ages of 15 to 17, and they get to go on a 4-week intensive exchange program, build a network of peers, other girls who are interested in pursuing careers in STEM, and also meet with mentors of women who work in the STEM field. The program opens in November and has a January deadline. It is a very popular program and extremely competitive. But I know for a fact that we've had those from Uralsk participate. So I encourage any young ladies who are interested in pursuing STEM fields to apply for this wonderful opportunity. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have an undergraduate opportunity for those who may be interested in pursuing a non-degree program. It is open to first, second, and third year undergraduate students, and there are various fields that can be pursued for this. The program opens in late October and the deadline is in December. So please share that with any undergraduate students who may be interested in having an experience of one academic semester abroad in the United States. Next slide, please. Okay, so we also have a program that's called, we call it SUSI, but it's the Study of the United States Institutes. There are different institutes that are offered, and the one that I'm mentioning here is for female undergraduate students. It's a 5-week program that focuses on women's empowerment and leadership, particularly in environmental studies. And it's available for first, second, and third year undergraduate females who are enrolled in Kazakhstani higher education institutions. For this group that's going to go this year, we have one who was selected from Jangarhan University in Uralsk. So this is a good opportunity to share with your students for those who are interested in working in ecological issues or have a passion for promoting environmental awareness. The deadline is in December. Next slide, please. So this is also a SUSI, but it's for faculty members. We offer 5 6-week programs for that have different focuses for faculty. So you can see the list here. It ranges from American culture and values to politics and political thought, literature, journalism and media, religious freedom and pluralism, U.S. foreign policy, youth engagement, closing the gap, skills gap, as well as U.S. national security policy making. So for those who may be interested, please get in contact with us. It is sometimes only a nomination based program. So it's, if you do know of someone or you may be interested in pursuing one of these, do get in touch with us so we can evaluate whether this is an opportunity for you. Next slide, please. All right, so we have centers across the Kazakhstan called Education USA. Our Education USA advisor for the West region is based out of Aktau, but she is available to come to Uralsk to meet with students and faculty who might be interested in pursuing any educational opportunities in the United States. So Education USA is a global network with many centers around the world, and Kazakhstan included. The Education USA advisors are experts on how to apply to various programs, whether it is, for English language programs, whether it's for undergraduate studies, graduate or PhD, or it may be even internship. I know that the Kazakhstani government offers opportunities for the Bolashak program, and I think there's also an opportunity for professional development for faculty. So if you are looking to connect with an American institution, you could also get in contact with Education USA or the embassy. We'd be happy to also help brainstorm on opportunities there. But just putting it out there that they are experts in educational opportunities in the United States. And the website is below, educationusakazakhstan.kz, EN, also on Instagram. Next slide, please. Okay, so as I had mentioned, those are some of the programs that are more the general education and exchange program opportunities. There are lots more. I don't have enough time to go over all of them, but the best way to keep track of all the opportunities that come up are to follow us on social media. So we have a list here of where you can follow us. We're very active on Instagram and Facebook, and you can go also to Twitter and YouTube. Okay. Thank you very much. I am going to, before we take any questions, I'm going to turn it over to Olga for a more English language focused presentation and perhaps get myself some water. Thank you very much. Over to you, Olga.
Thank you very much, John.
Thank you, John. Let me continue with English language programs, US Department of State English language programs. And for this, if it's possible, could you change the presentation? We will need another presentation. While you're working on this, let me just start with our programs, because some of our programs, they are not only for English language teachers, but I would say for the authorities in the universities, because they should be approved and supported by the authorities of the university. So let me start on that one. Nurjakin, will we have the presentation? If you cannot do this, could you at least share the information sheet with us?
Okay. This one? Or this one?
Information sheet on English language programs.
So I guess it's this one. Yeah?
I can't see. I still see the previous presentation.
Okay. Now this is the slide.
Oh, great, great. Great. Let us start with English Language Fellow program, and we are very lucky today to have English Language Fellow here, Avgust Garэнsi. Actually, August is a participant of English Language Fellow program, and now is placed and located in Astana and works at Eurasia National University. And we have 4 English Language Fellows in Kazakhstan now. August in Astana, we have a fellow in Almaty, in Petropavlovsk, and in Turkestan. And the English Language Fellow program allows us to bring professionals in the field of English language teaching from the United States of America to our local Kazakhstan universities. And our fellows, they work with undergraduate and graduate students of those universities, as well as with the teachers associations or teachers communities locally and in online format. So we are very lucky to have our fellows in Kazakhstan, and you as an institution can apply for English Language Fellow program. In the upcoming fall, in 2023 fall, we will have a call for proposals from the universities for English Language Fellow program. And you as a university, of course, with support of your administration, your rector, vice rectors, and of course the department, you can apply for the fellow program to have a fellow for 10 months for 1 academic year. It's a really great opportunity for the university to be involved in a lot of activities, not only which you organize, but also the US Embassy can help organizing some activities for you. And of course, you have a professional native speaker from the United States to work with your pre-service students or maybe other students. It depends on your proposal. So consider this opportunity and let us know about your interest. Next slide, please. English Language Specialist Program. English Language Specialist Program allows us to bring specialized training for in-service institutes, schools, universities, and other academic institutions. And these trainings are conducted by American academics, experts, and teacher trainers in the fields of English as a foreign language, methodology of teaching English, or linguistics. So specialists, they usually do not work on general English for the university. Usually they are concentrated on some field in English language methodology and help to work to increase professional skills of Kazakh English language teachers. And in this regard, we work with local organizations who can assist us in organizing the groups of teachers. We can work with the universities, we can work with teachers associations, and of course, sometimes we as the mission US Embassy also initiate such trainings and bring specialists on our own initiative. So if you are interested, also let us know. But again, in this case, you will need more support from your university association, and you need to be sure that in case you are asking about English language specialists, you will be able to organize the classes for him or her and will be able to organize the audience. Again, let me underline that all our programs, they are free for English language teachers, for organizations, for any Kazakhstan organization. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we're here.
Okay, thank you very much. Next slide, please. English Access Micro Scholarship Program. This is the program for English language learners. In majority of cases, we help English language teachers to develop their professional skills. But in case with the English Access Micro Scholarship Program, we help students from Kazakhstan to develop their English language skills, and the age of the students varies from 13 to 25 years old, and we do not work, unfortunately, with individual participants, and we do not consider individual proposals, but we work with organizations who run this program for us. As for now, we have one organization which administers the program all over Kazakhstan. It's public fund, Ziraina, and we have this program in 10 sites, in 10 locations all over Kazakhstan. In Uralsk, we had this program, I think, a couple of years ago. It was ROST, if I'm not mistaken, the institution was called ROST, and yes. It also was for teenagers. So again, if some of you want to participate in this program as an organization which will run this program for the US Embassy, I suppose pretty soon we will have the call for proposals for this very program. Next slide, please. Massive open online courses. I can be brief about this topic because I'm almost sure that August will talk about American English resources, right? And I will just mention that massive open online courses is the courses, if, for example, you're busy, you don't have time, you don't want to have a lot of obligations considering the course, you want to do it in your own pace and in your own time. I think massive open online courses are for you. So it's self-paced courses, and we suggest a lot of topics. Just look at the titles: English for career development, English for journalism, English for media literacy. All these courses are created, not all of them, they created for not only English language teachers, but also for English language learners. So at your institution, you can spread the information about these courses and ask your students to try them, to follow them. And actually, I want to tell you that all our courses, we have a lot of them, and usually the only thing which is required from you is just start, to push the button, to send the application form, just to start doing something, because you are the ones who work around your career development. You are the ones who can apply. You are the ones who consider themselves really teachers who want to find out more, to want to find out information which can be applied in your classes. Thank you very much. Next slide, please. Open global online courses for English teachers. Now this program is very competitive. And for example, for this spring term, we had only 15 slots for all Kazakhstan. And of course, it's a competition. It's pretty kind of intensive course for English language teachers, which will require a lot of work from you, a lot of dedication. But it's real course of American university, like graduate level course. So you can try. You should be consistent. You should dedicate time to participate in this course, to not only begin but also to finish. So it's not just your attendance, it's actually real participation in the course. But I would encourage you to apply, to participate. The call for applications for the next term for open summer 2023 global online courses will be open pretty soon, I think maybe next month. So I would encourage you to find this information on our social media, US Embassy social media. It will be posted there, and of course our website. And please apply. Unfortunately, we do not have a lot of participants from Ural. That's why we'll be very glad to see your applications. Thank you. Next, please. American English Live webinars for English teachers. Again, it's a great resource for you if you want just to start to find out about our programs. You can register on Facebook and just complete these courses. See those webinars. We have usually 6 in a row, but if you participate in 4 out of 6, you will earn a digital participation badge. So especially I think it might be interesting for younger generation teachers, because sometimes younger generation teachers, they are more experienced in using online tools and resources. So I would encourage you to use all of this. Thank you. Next one, please. American English Online, it's a great resource, and I will just briefly mention that you can find there a lot of resources for English language teachers and learners of English, and you can download a lot of materials using this site without copyrights. You can find ready-to-go lessons and just ready-to-go board games. So I think it might be very interesting for you just to browse, to investigate this site and find information. Of course, if you need any help or assistance, you can contact us and we will provide additional information to you. And the next slide, please, the last one. There is some links to the sites and pages This information was sent to the university so it can spread around, as well as those information sheets I sent on English language programs and education programs. They also can be spread around to the interested teachers. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure being here with you today.
Thank you very much, John, Olga, for presentation and taking your time. I started to think like why teachers from small cities I meet less common than from bigger ones. And every time I introduced myself, I heard like comments, "Oh, you're from Ural, it's quite far." So how it turned out that you attending the training and so on. So I started to think about whether we are stereotyped about small cities or whether we have certain problems. So hopefully it got blessed, and so I've become a project facilitator in Ural, and honestly it was more than just a project for Ural and me, I think. And there are teachers from small cities less motivated? Actually not. So we had over 65 applications in each cohort, and that year was full of excitement, positive emotions, networking, challenges, and the opening new opportunities for local teachers. The project proved that teachers from small cities could also perform as well as other teachers from bigger cities. It also showed me we just need to build a bridge between educational organizations and collaborate with each other. In this slide, you see our cohort participants from April to June, and so we ended up with team building in the camp. So they had they enjoyed all of our sessions, and most of them are joining now online. And also we invited our alumni to this seminar. So one of the alumni is attending the seminar today, so she will present her presentation a bit later. And so the goal of taking this project was enriching media literacy skills of local schools and improving their English during their offline sessions. They also took online courses on Coursera. So they had certificates of achievement, and Oral, I think, performed very well. So at least 98 of participants complete the whole project till the end. So during this video, you could see different discussion activities. So they had different type of activities like pair work, individual work, doing projects, doing posters, creating own media messages, and at the final sessions, they created also own final project, how they see and what kind of skills they learned during the project. So we, our audience were diverse, so there were also students as well as pre-service, in-service teachers, so we follow different trends like TikTok, so we could say teachers are still modern, and we would like to be to use modern technologies and apply them also in classes. So we also try to mix up different group of people. So last cohort, so this one is from October till December cohort. There were also teachers from STEM. So I believe every time we will have bigger audience and enlarge our collaboration. So that's why me and the Ольга Ступина, as the head of our department, came to the idea of launching the public association, TEO, that's a public association for teachers of English in Batыс Қазақстан. And we have core values of being open for everyone who teaches English, teachers from Ural and the other districts, teachers from schools, universities, education centers, even freelancers. Probably you noticed on our programs that today we keep gender equality, so there is a balance between female and the male speakers. We are inclusive and allow participate for all who are interested in the topic, and there are students, also young and qualified teachers. Also, there are teachers coming from АКШ districts and coming here to participate in our session offline. So we aim to develop teaching English here and expanding teaching network in the community. Today is our second event. In January, we arranged a roundtable with 3 parties: universities, regional department of education, and the school principals, where we discussed how we could all work together and reach common goals. So we have a lot of ambitious ideas about coming events, and we believe we will enlarge our audience every time. So I would like to express my deepest appreciation to the US Embassy on behalf of teachers from West Kazakhstan. I hope we will create more creative projects like advancing English for media literacy and keep getting further accomplishments. So let's see if we have questions from the audience. Do we? Okay.
As we are resource teachers, I would like to know what skills are crucial criteria for applicants of the Fulbright teaching program. And my question is, do you consider candidates with little experience for the program?
So can I just make sure I understood? The question was about the Fulbright foreign language teaching, FLTA, is that correct?
No, TEA, Teaching Excellence.
Oh, Fulbright T. Yeah, so the Fulbright T requires a certain number of years of experience. So but I believe the number is 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. But one thing that was not mentioned that would be of interest is the one that I just mentioned by accident, because I thought I understood what you were mentioning. There is also a Fulbright language teaching assistant program geared towards Kazakhstanis who will go to the United States to teach actually Kazakh language. It's for English teachers who are teaching English in Kazakhstan, but you get to go for 1 academic year, and then you can use that opportunity to audit courses and to work with faculty while you're in the United States. It's a great opportunity. And that's meant for teachers who have some experience, but I think it's not necessarily that you have to have been teaching for a long time. Fulbright T, the other program, is like I was saying before, quite competitive and requires a little bit more experience. But that doesn't mean I'm discouraging you from applying. So you can never know if you don't try, is what I say. So always give it a go. Thank you for the question.
Okay, thank you very much for answering the question. Meet our today's guest speaker, English language fellow, MA in TESOL, teacher trainer contributing in developing English language teaching professional development in Kazakhstan, Avgust Garэнsi. So August, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much, Nujarkin, for that very warm welcome. I very much vividly remember those webinar days like that. Yeah, that's during that time. Yeah, teachers all across Kazakhstan, all across the world, were hungry for online opportunities, and yeah, those ended up becoming massive webinars, like 400 people at those webinars. So that was fantastic. Yeah, I'll always remember those quite fondly. Thank you for inviting me. Let me go ahead and share my screen. There we go. Thank you. All right, guys. So thank you for inviting me to your Transformations in Learning Methods and Teacher Training. So good afternoon, dear faculty, students, administration, all of our guests, participants online, our presenters, as well as for the US Embassy for being able to provide all that incredible information about those programs and resources. I'm going to kind of piggyback off of this a little bit and just kind of get even a little bit deeper into my general theme of English resources. And you're going to see lots of different pictures from different things. And definitely American English online resources have been something that I have constantly been using with students and with teachers for teacher training. You can see some of the photographs there from some of my many school visits that I've done here in the capital of Kazakhstan. On the top picture, you can see one of the great resources for American English Online, the Picture US in the top photograph. And in the bottom, you can see as well the Activate series for the Games for Learning American English. All are fantastic resources, but I'm actually going to be focusing on something different for everyone here today. So I was just mentioned, I am an English language fellow here in the capital of Kazakhstan. I've been a fellow for 2.5 years now, and sad to say that this is my final term here as a fellow. It's been an incredible journey. Even prior to being a fellow, I was teaching at Nazarbayev Intellectual Schools. So Kazakhstan has really been a huge part, a very rewarding experience, being able to engage and collaborate with many incredible English language teaching professionals and students in all regions of Kazakhstan. So that was, again, as was previously mentioned by Olga and also by John with the U.S. Embassy, I'm just going to, again, just show you again, because I just can't emphasize enough about American English Online resources. Again, you can see that website for americanenglish.state.gov. Guys, really, it's your one stop for all online resources. I mean, we're talking about guided readers. If you want books on culture, holidays, celebrations, music, dialogues, games, pictures, videos, activities for all skills, and so much more. Really, it is a one-stop for English language teachers, and also as well as fantastic opportunities for professional development, such as like with English Teaching Forum and the many incredible American English Live teacher development series, webinars. Series 16 is going on right now. You can kind of see in the photograph here, this past term with some of my master's students at Eurasian National University, I did a little kind of social media kind of challenge or project for my master's students to watch and create infographics to share about each webinar that was presented in the series 15, which was last term, which you can also rewatch again if you didn't see before through American English's YouTube channel that was mentioned earlier as well. So let me ask a question to everybody here. So do you have a go-to activity that utilizes all skills? Now, maybe it's something as simple as a friendly game of foosball, as you can see there on the table, or maybe something a little bit more complicated where you are literally drawing a Venn diagram on the floor in the middle of your classroom. Do you guys have something? So online participants, you can put something into the chat. That would be fantastic. Or if anybody in our audience there in Oral, if you want to ask or say, please feel free to do that so now. Anybody share an activity that they love to go to that can utilize all skills? Anybody have a favorite activity? I'm curious. Do tell. Anybody? I see if anybody wants to share an activity. I have my go-to activity that I'm going to share with in a moment. Just curious to see what others are doing. Anybody else? All right. Well, is there anybody in our audience would like to share? Maybe one person like to share an activity? All right. Well, I don't think I see any comments about that one, so that's totally fine.
They are a little bit short. Actually, we had this internship trainings, and I think that we have lots of fun activities.
Yeah. I mean, there is lots of fun activities there. So, like, yes, I can't quite hear. Okay, guys. So let me share with you my kind of go-to activity. And this is going to be a very simple, straightforward presentation. And it's showing I can show you this in probably just a few minutes here, guys. So this resource that I like to say for all skills, which is definitely something that we aim for as English teaching professionals. And you can see if your students are giving you the thumbs up, like in the picture, they love that activity, right? So it's definitely, I've utilized this many times here in Kazakhstan, and the general reception from students and teachers that come across this resource is usually 2 thumbs up. So the resource that I want to mention, and again, this is going a little bit deeper than what was mentioned earlier about, you know, the wealth of resources with American English Online, specifically is American Teens Talk. Now, you can kind of see the screenshot off to the left here. You can see the big red arrow pointing down to it. So if you do go to the American English Online site, you can search for it. I can also share the link after my presentation into the chat for those online. But you can see that below the resource, there's a list. You can see introduction, possible activities, and a bunch of names. American Teens Talk, it is basically a collection of interviews by a wide range of teens across the US. And hey, teens in the US, they have the same thoughts, the same interests, the same fears and stresses that teens in Kazakhstan do as well. It's a terrific resource. It's very natural. It's very trendy because lots of the different types of themes within this resource, and you can see many different types of themes from, you know, from charity to volunteerism, hobbies, other types of traditions, family, music, controversial issues, stress, interviews, creativity, what inspires you. So very great types of themes within all of these interviews. And again, it's about 30 interviews within this collection, within this resource. And to me, it's perfect for practicing and developing listening, reading, speaking, writing, creative thinking, and also abstract thinking, higher order thinking skills as well. Now, I'll show you a few other pictures and some examples to kind of show you how I've used it for multiple skills, okay? So here's a little closer up of just one of the many different types of interviews that you can be found within American Teens Talk resource. Now, this specific interview here focuses on Blake, a teen boy there in the US, and you can kind of see the interviews follow the same general type of layout. Typically, they're about 2 pages with about 5 to 7 questions. And also you can see off to the side that there's a section for some type of specific target language categorized as a few words. And also they have a section for some discussion questions. Now, each of these interviews, these texts, also come with a very high quality MP3 audio track. So otherwise, that's hence how you can do for listening, for reading, for speaking. And I'll show you here too what you can do about it for writing as well. Now, I've used this resource with a variety of groups here in the capital, in Astana. And I'm going to show you kind of a couple of the products, just to kind of give you a couple of ideas of how maybe the staging and procedure can go and what potentially your students can produce in the end. So my kind of project that I typically try to do is I try to do the kind of on the flip side, a Kazakh Teens Talk. Okay, so from American Online resources, American English Online resources, they have the American Teens Talk, right? So this is going to be Kazakh Teens Talk that we're creating. Makes sense, right? So you can kind of see in my pictures here that, and these are some of my university students there at Eurasian National University. And typically what I would do is I would play the audio track. So first everybody would be listening to selected interviews. And then that way they would be just kind of answering maybe some kind of comprehension questions about maybe the themes or the topics or things that were mentioned, kind of to help them to build their understanding of the type of content within each and every interview. And then what I would do is then I would pass out the text. So I would pass out the interviews or they can just look them up online, because again, this is an online resource. So in my university classes there, they typically were just using their phone. I could always just share the PDF through our WhatsApp group. And they would read through the interviews, and then that way, then they would be able to discuss in small groups, the discussion questions, and also discuss about the target language or a few selected words, what was highlighted. And then the next stage after that is I would have, after they've fully gone through working out the interviews, listening to it, reading it, discussing the topics that are the content from within that interview. And then I had the students create their own Kazakh Teens Talk. So let me show you kind of one of my more recent projects that I've done. So that way here you can see an example of what one of my university students and the product that they created. So their Kazakh Teens Talk, you can see they modeled it to look very similar to like the American Teens Talk. But again, you know, but some of the kind of the content, obviously, what's nice about this is it's contextualized to maybe something that could be even more relevant to teens in Kazakhstan. So a lot of my, the interviews that were created during this last time that I did it focused a lot on like Nauruz, for example, you know, and so something very kind of, you know, cultural specific with Kazakhstan, people to share about what they do in the celebration, you know, and other types of events or activities. And so they try to highlight a few words, and you can kind of see from this interview here, this student was talking a little bit about their academic mobility program that they just got through completing previously in Poland, and some of the kind of selected language they did, such as like pierogi and vareniki. And they created some discussion questions as well. And so that was, now, if you're, now again, I'm trying to challenge my university students, as you would too want to as well, but potentially, you know, if you are working with maybe, you know, secondary school learners, and maybe you want to not be so kind of, you know, tech intensive, because obviously this requires some type of, you know, skills and technology for them to create these documents. Here's another example of what I've done before, which is much more like low tech and would be more of a paper copy of Kazakh Teens Talk. So what you could simply do is you can actually just gather the pictures of the students. You can just print out that picture on a sheet of paper, and then your students can actually go ahead and handwrite in their interviews that they would conduct with each other as well, come up with the questions. So there's lots of ways you can do it. Either you can have them make a much more kind of formal document, especially if you are probably at the university level, or for secondary school learners, you can simply just print something out like this and just have them fill in things by hand. So this is something that I've utilized quite a bit throughout my time in Kazakhstan. It always typically produces pretty good results. The participants and the students that are creating these, they're very much engaged. It's a terrific resource. One of the many wonderful resources there on American English online. And I really just wanted to highlight this one because it's really had kind of a profound impact. One of the things that I'm doing with this project, I'll just go back one slide, is so my last group of students that I had that have created these documents, I'm going to be running a kind of pilot program to where local schools and English teachers here in Astana are going to actually use this resource to support English language learners in secondary schools here across the capital. So that was, this is not just a homework project. It's something bigger than that. It's something more profound to help support other English language learners in schools across the Astana. So I feel that this is a terrific way, not just for students to really be involved in more responsibility within their learning and practice. Again, I'm working with pre-service English teachers, and therefore this is a great type of mentality for them to develop this, to already go ahead and start the engagement process within their learning communities. So that's basically what I wanted to share with everybody. So thank you for your time. And again, feel free to contact me. You can reach out to me via Instagram or my email if you got further questions. I'll put the link into the chat for the Zoom for the American English, but I can easily get this information out to anyone else, probably through Najark. And so thank you again, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the presentations. We got what's coming up here. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, August. Coming to our next speakers. So I would like to present to our next speaker, Izrail Moges from Ethiopia. He has been teaching at the Eurasian University for the past 4 years, and now he's a teacher at the Kazakh International Linguistic College in Astana. And he's an author of the 3 series book called Get Ready and Easy and Progressively at Learning English. And the topic of his presentation is technological involvement in the 21st century students. So, Израиль.
Саламатсыздармы, құрметті оқушылар. Всем привет. Всем здравствуйте. I would like to say hello and everyone and welcome to this seminar. And maybe you can watch a video of mine because of shortage of time. Can you share the video?
Yes, just a second.
Okay. Interesting thing. Yes. This is about okay, let me share my screen. So to give you a general overview of about what I would like to discuss with you today is about who am I? I am Izrail Moges. I'm an architect by profession. I am also an author and I am also an English teacher. I came from Ethiopia. I was born in 1994 and I have had the chance to stay here in Kazakhstan since 2018. And since then, I have been trying to engage myself with different kind of activities and different kind of educational and academic tasks that I have been allocated with Eurasian National University, and I've had the chance to do different kind of research going around all around Kazakhstan, and I have had the chance to experience the culture. And it came to me as an idea that together with my fellow other teachers, that we have to publish, or we have to write a book which is significantly talking about the Kazakh culture, and they have to learn English using the Kazakh culture itself. So as a reason, then we started writing different kind of books. So these are the 3 books that I got involved with, and I also published these books. So these books are written in 3 languages, and mostly we are using all the languages as a translation, and mostly reflecting the Kazakh culture, because a person who understands their own culture and input their information would be quite a good way of understanding the language itself. So we use that as a benefit to learn English. And I, together with other 70, like around 75, but now currently with 42 teachers all around Kazakhstan, from Oral, Taldyqurgan, in Karajal and other small cities, have been there, and we have discussed with many teachers, and we are now coming up with different kind of contents where we can, not only recording the videos and upload it to YouTube, but which is going to be accessible to all Kazakh students, not only in the small schools, but aside from that in the universities as well. So we are trying to create different kind of contents that will be quite accessible to all and everyone. So it will be quite free. At the same time, a little bit more traditional or local way of learning the English language, and being able to express oneself in different languages would be one of the philosophies that we started. The writing different kind of texts. As a reason, one of the challenges that I usually face in the classrooms was no cell phones, especially they usually use telephones, and the lessons might be boring, and even if it's not, even students especially at the universities and high school levels, they already have a phone, and they usually tend to focus on that. And we together with other teachers from Kazakhstan, we have decided to come up with different kind of contents which are really engaging and not distracted from the lesson, but rather focusing on putting the things that distract them as a teaching or learning process. So this is the main idea where we started developing different kind of contents. And because of shortage of time, if you would like to ask different kind of questions, which is related to technology, especially in preparing different kind of contents, and if you have ideas of also would like to join our team of 42 teachers, and you can have something to contribute to learn and study English using Kazakh traditions, cultures, and norms, it would be quite beneficial for you and for us as well. So feel free to contact me. The content creating system is quite easy. Any ideas are acceptable because there is no wrong ideas, and it has to be pre-planned, and all the things are prepared by you as well. We're going to be organizing it together with other teachers, and it would be quite an engaging and an interactive way of learning from each other. And if you'd like to contact me, this is my email address. Feel free to email me, and I can give you a lot of information about what we are doing and what are the plans that we have. Thank you very much.
English language acquisition for more than 25 years in various colleges and universities across the world. So moreover, he is a certified Cambridge English language examiner, as well as being a CEO of Life Lessons. It's an innovative online English language self-study magazine focusing on cultural diversity and inclusive topics. As most teachers struggle with fostering students' motivation, his topic is the motivational factors affecting second language learning. So, Steve is joining us from London. You're welcome.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, so hello everybody. My name's Stephen Nuri. Thank you very much for that warm welcome and introduction. It's very early in the morning here, so I perhaps picked the wrong subject, motivation, but nonetheless, I'll give it my best shot. So Nuri's asked me to speak a little bit about the subject of motivation. So hopefully, Nuri's able to put up the notes or share the notes because I'm dealing with some quite complex vocabulary, so the notes may be useful. There may come up questions. If you have any questions, please save them till we're finished, and I will gladly answer or try to. So let's begin. I know time is short, so I'd like to begin on the subject of motivation and second language learning. So why are some students successful at language learning whilst others are not? Well, research suggests motivational factors play a large part. Motivation is a kind of internal drive that encourages people to pursue a course of action. If we perceive a goal that is sufficiently attractive, we'll be strongly motivated to do whatever is necessary to reach that goal. It's something that we're all aware of. We might, as adults, work overtime to afford to buy that mobile cell phone that you really must have. If you're a younger person, it may be as simple as saving up your pocket money to buy a treat. Goals. Language learners who are motivated perceive goals of various kinds, long-term goals and short-term goals. So one of the long-term goals often entails the desire to get a better job or prospects in the future, or a desire to be able to communicate with members of the target language. Short-term goals, on the other hand, they might include such things as wanting to pass an end-of-term test, or wanting to finish a unit in a book. What kind of motivations do students have? Well, it's been suggested there are two main types of motivation. What's called integrative motivation. For this kind of motivation, students need to be attracted to the culture of the target learning community. And moreover, if they have a strong integrative motivation, they may wish to integrate themselves into that culture. I always thought espionage was possibly one of those, but on a more standard note, it's a question of somebody wishing to understand far more deeper the culture. So these are known as integrative motivations. The second form or factor of motivation is what's known as instrumental motivation. This term describes more a situation in which students believe that mastery of the target language will be instrumental in getting them a better job, position, or status. The target language here is an instrument in their attainment of such a goal. Motivation and attitude. Certain major factors relating to language learning can be described as being extrinsic, which are more to do with the exterior culture. A student's level of extrinsic motivation has much to do with their attitude, their own attitude towards the target language. Perhaps even their parents, certainly of younger learners, the attitude of their parents to the target language. And of course, their peers, their fellow students. Another factor affecting the attitude of students is their previous experiences as language learners, either positive or negative. There's only so much any teacher can do to affect levels of extrinsic motivation, since it comes into the classroom from the outside. What teachers can do is to create a positive attitude to the language and its speakers, to be supportive and encouraging to students rather than critical and possibly destructive. Intrinsic is classroom based, as opposed to extrinsic, which, as I mentioned, is out there, the result of the culture. Whilst it's reasonable to suppose that many adult learners have some degree of extrinsic motivation, I mean, the fact that they're still studying the language as an adult would suggest that there must be some degree of extrinsic motivation. Why else possibly would the person be there? And that clearly the attitude of students can be affected by members of their communities. There can be no doubt that intrinsic motivation plays a vital part in a student's success or failure as language learners. Many younger learners bring little or no extrinsic motivation to the classroom. For them, everything is what goes on in the classroom. For these students unaffected by intrinsic factors, it is what happens in the classroom that is of vital importance in determining their attitude to the language and in supplying motivation. So let's look at the classroom from this perspective of intrinsic motivation. Now, for those who may not know, Jeremy Harmer is a well-known applied linguist and publisher of material on English language learning. Whether the student likes the teacher or not may not be very significant. What can be said, though, is that two teachers using the same method can have vastly different results. How then can we assess the qualities a teacher needs to help in providing intrinsic motivation? So that is a quote from Jeremy Harmer's The Practice of English Language Teaching. My own experiences over the past 2 decades as a teacher trainer of English internationally, has done much to motivate my interest in trying to understand exactly what encourages, and just as importantly, what of course would discourage people from learning a target language. Over the years, I've developed a mnemonic, MMM. I rather like mnemonics. Makes things much easier to remember for me as notes. So let's look at MMM. M equals manners. Whilst no teacher is probably going to enthrall every student they encounter, indeed, personality and approachability matters a lot. We remember our teachers. Teachers need to create a rapport with their students. Partly by providing interesting and motivating classes, and partly by treating all the students with the same level of respect and consideration. These things should be a given, of course, but we live in an imperfect world. Teachers need to look like capable teachers, and I think dress like capable teachers. Enough said. Teachers need to be able to demonstrate that they know their subject, otherwise their students will eventually see through any pretense. My second M equals method. The method by which students are taught must have some effect on their motivation. If they find it numbingly boring, they are likely to be demotivated. On the other hand, if they have confidence in the method and find it interesting, they will find it motivating. Now, I'm sure some of you are saying, what's the method? What's the method? Well, despite various attempts by practitioners, there is unfortunately no research which clearly shows success of one method over another. According to Jeremy Harmer, if the student loses confidence in the method, he or she will become demotivated. And the student's confidence in the method.
I have to hurry, rush you a little bit and then come to a conclusion as we have 4 speakers while waiting to perform. So could we end up with your conclusion about this topic?
Fine. I will summarize. Yeah, fine.
Thank you.
Let's look at success. I've learned over time that much of teachers' work in the classroom concerns getting the level of challenge just right, not too high and not too low. This involves careful consideration of the type of task set, the speed expected from the student, and the complexity of the task. Ultimately, of course, the student's motivation or lack of it, leading to success or failure, is in their own hands. But this matter notwithstanding, a good teacher, by way of motivation, can influence the course of events in the student's favour. I'm sorry I'm not able to cover everything, but the notes are there and available. I leave my email if anybody wants to know more. Thank you very much for inviting me, and I'll allow Nurian to push on with the conference. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll share this document with all of the participants online and offline. So thank you for coming despite the different time zones and getting up so late. So I would like to invite our next guest speaker, Альбина Абилова. She has worked at the Department of School of Physics and Math in Oral since 2014. She's MA in Education and Teaching moderator and at NIS, and she has been teaching English for over 15 years. As a test item developer, she also currently studying at the Graduate School of Education at Nazarbayev University, majoring Master of Science in Education Leadership, cohort 2024. That's my.
Okay, thank you very much. Greetings. May I? Thank you, Stefan, for presentation. I'm going to talk about one way or just a strategy, how can we raise students' motivation during the learning. Okay. Now, the first thing I just wanted to say, I'm an English language teacher at Гаукар University, assessment coordinator and test items development trainer. Besides assessment field, I'm also focused on differentiation, which is one of the key factors of student successful academic achievement. And I would like to report to you the research outcomes of my study conducted last year in grade 7 at NIS. Why I have chosen this grade or the age of the students is the students come to NIS with different background, different perceptions, and different learning styles. And we know that in any classroom we have students with different learning styles. They can be oral, visual, kinesthetic, and read and write styles. And it's the action research process. I'm quite sure that school teachers are already aware of the action and lesson study approaches, but for the school and just students graduating this year, when you go to the schools, you will conduct these two types of research. Okay. The research problem is addressed in this study is the different levels of information perceptions and performance of students, their psychological discomfort in the classroom, inappropriate energy consumption, and lack of student experience in the lesson. The purpose of the research is to explore and evaluate the effectiveness of differentiated approach to learning students, to teach students with different learning styles. The study aims to determine whether tailoring instruction strategies to meet the unique needs and preferences of individual learners can enhance their academic performance and engagement in the classroom. The research questions were settled before the research itself. We can see them on the screen. They are: what are the different learning styles exhibited by students in the classroom? How effective is the differentiated approach to teach students with different learning styles compared to a traditional approach? Which instructional strategies are most effective to use? How does the differentiated approach to teach impact students' engagement and motivation?
I'm sorry, they could not hear you.
And what are the implications of a differentiated approach to teaching for students' achievement and teacher effectiveness and overall classroom climate? Okay, a comprehensive review of relevant literature on learning styles, differentiated instruction, and effective teaching strategies for various learners was conducted to inform their study and identify gaps in existing research. The research participants, as I have mentioned, were 7th graders, newly arrived students at NIS. Surveys were used to collect data from students on the perceptions of teaching, learning styles, as well as the experiences with differentiated instruction. That will do. Let's go on to the next one. Then the methodology. Okay. Interviews with teachers were conducted to gain deeper insights into their experiences with differentiated instruction, their preferences for instructional strategies, and their perceptions of the benefits and challenges of this approach. Observations of classroom instruction and student behavior were the central part of the research, and were conducted to gather data on the effectiveness of differentiated instruction and its impact on student engagement and learning outcomes. Achievement tests were used to compare the academic performance of students' previous traditional instruction with differentiated one. The research methods were are designed to collect both qualitative and quantitative data to provide a comprehensive understanding of the effectiveness of the differentiated approach to teaching students with different learning styles. The survey for the students reported 57% of students remember the information better when the lesson includes audio and visual resources. 76 of the respondents prefer productive lessons such as creating booklets, posters, presentations, and other assignments. 54% prefer individual work, 29 working groups, and only 17% notice play work to be interesting. Watching videos, writing essays, playing games, presentations, group work, and discussion were the common ideas respondents gave on the types of tasks they learned to do. Regarding the interview, there were 7 teachers who were interviewed on their experiences with differentiated instruction. Unfortunately, only 21% teachers of NIS they admitted they use the results of the psychological test in their lesson plan. However, 34% agreed that they considered this in their planning and lesson conduct. Then I conducted a cycle of lessons with the purpose to identify the benefits of differentiated techniques for students with different learning styles. At the end of each lesson, observation, my colleagues provided their feedback where the strengths and weak points were discussed and further improvements were indicated. The study found that a differentiated approach to teaching that caters to individual learning styles is more effective than a traditional approach in improving student engagement and academic performance. It identifies specific instructional strategies that are effective in catering to different learning styles, such as using visual aids for visual learners, hands-on activities for kinesthetic learners, and group work for auditory learners. A differentiated approach to teaching improved student engagement and motivation, leading to increased participation in classroom activities and better learning outcomes. The most impressive finding was the improvement represented in students' academic performance. The progress significantly increased at the end of the third term when most of the students demonstrated good results in summative assessment tasks. The study identified challenges in integrating and sustaining differentiated approach to teaching in the classroom, such as time constraints, lack of resources, and difficulty in consistently applying the approach across different subjects and grade levels. Overall, the findings of the study contributed to the knowledge based on effective teaching strategies for diverse learners and inform best practices in differentiated instruction. Finally, the following conclusions can be drawn. There will always be students with diverse learning styles. Considering individual characteristics help the teacher to reduce to a minimum of failures and mistakes that are inevitable in the learning process. Educational activities built on a practical psychological basis are distinguished by high efficiency, purposefulness, satisfaction, and joy of learning. The study improved the teaching process, students' motivation, and their interest in the lesson, and creating a learning atmosphere that considers learning styles detailed for teachers' work as the student and self-development. The further recommendations can be suggested for teachers, for novice teachers, for some probably experienced teachers who do not apply the psychological test results in their lesson planning and teaching. Use these results of the different types of tests. You know that there is a wide range of tests, such as Howard Gardner's test for multiple intelligences, then Yefremova also for different learning styles. Isaac also has very nice test for personalities to use. Then plan lessons with tasks based on the individual characteristics of each student, anticipate changes in the learning process, and carry out remedial work with students who require assistance. These are the main, I would say, the pivotal points that all the teachers and the graduates, when you just enter the school, have to keep in mind. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing your research results. Probably we'll do a question and answer session a little bit later. Our next speaker, Тілеуқабыл Bibitұлы. He is an English teacher with a BA in Education and completed graduated Eurasian National University. Currently, he works at the boarding school gymnasium named after Abay for gifted children. Recently, he has participated in the 8th Global Teaching Dubai. As one of his greatest achievements, he was awarded the Teacher of the Year medal for his active participation and the contribution to education in Kazakhstan. So Tildeqabыл will present how to apply AR technologies in teaching English.
Hello everyone, my name is Tildeqabıl. I'm a current teacher at Abay Gymnasium, so it was a gymnasium before, and thank you very much for organizers for inviting me here, and I'm so happy and I'm so honored to be among the brilliant teachers and teachers from abroad. So today's my topic is called ER technologies in education. ER technologies, I was always interested in ER technologies because my elder brother, he's a 3D designer, and he always experimented working with these technologies. And at that time, I thought, why not to add this technology in education? So ER technology, right now, it was my diploma work before, but I stopped working on it. And this year, I was sitting on TikTok and I saw many masks, many interesting things on TikTok. So it is the part of ER technology, actually. So I thought, why not to add it in my education, in my teaching method to make my lessons more interesting. So let's define what is ER technology. Next slide, third slide, please. So in introduction, I want to say what is augmented reality, what is virtual reality. The difference between VR technology. VR technology is when the computer takes you to the unreal world. So you make it and you are here, and mostly the virtual reality is expensive rather than AR technology. Right now, companies like Google, Steam, and also Sony working on VR technologies. As you know, we can play many video games on here, and it's very expensive. It's like $500, $600. What is augmented reality? Augmented reality adds the digital components to the real world. So with the help on the phone or tablet, you can add this technology and add this digital components, and you can see the results. So I think at schools, it's easier and it's easy to provide the students with ER technology, so we can add it. Next slide, please. Devices. So, no, please. Devices you need for augmented reality. There is two types of devices also. It's on the sixth slide. You can see here what kind of device you can head-mounted display with switch off. So it is expensive one. Next device that you can, it's handheld displays, it's phones and also the tablets. So there was researches of ER in English learning. So first research is connected with a reading comprehension task. So these researchers in 2017, they took the book and add some ER elements, so you can see it with the help of the phone, and they did task of learning experience. So 51 students were involved in this experiment. As a result of this experiment, of course, we can see here that they have more opinion-based comprehension questions. They can give more informed and stronger and the longer answers as compared to the people who study with traditional way of these tasks. So next research is connected with the studying of the alphabet. With the help of ER, you can make it more interesting to the students, to the undergraduate people, students. So I think children like first, second grade, they need more visuals tasks. So augmented reality is the I think one of the best ways to learn alphabet and new words for them. So as you can see here in this research in 2015, Solak and Shekar, they connected that it was more positively affected to the students. So next, we can see here that the ER also you can use in different fields. It's electronics, it's in medicine, it's also other fields, and also there's a advantages and disadvantages of AR. Advantages of also individualized learning, motivation, saving. It's a more wide variety of fields, developing students' creativity and curiosity. Also, there is a disadvantage, there's no control. It's very addictive because we love phones, we love games, but sometimes traditional way is boring and they can ask you more AR technology. So in my latest lessons, I use it Halo AR application. You can download on Google and also App Store. It's a free, and also you can share it to the students, so they don't need to add and something like that. You just share the link, you go there, and the technology is ready. So what kind of possibilities this application can provide? It's on 15 slides. So you can add photo, you can add video, you can add audio, you can add text, and also you can add 3D models to your lessons. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mөлdір. So she's a 15-year experienced teacher of English with a BA in education. Currently, she's pursuing a master's in our university. She was born and grown up in АШ district, West Қазақстан, and she actually participated in a lot of projects organized by British Council and the US Embassy. And as I mentioned before, she is advancing English for media literacy alumni of previous event. So,
good day, colleagues. When we hear something about STEM education, the first thing that comes to our mind is that it includes 4 specific disciplines. And today I want to share with my experience the role of STEM in teaching in English. I believe that every learner has ability to learn, and it's my job to help them to reach their potential. We need to know what works in our classes and education. I took some STEM teaching courses which are organized by Center of Excellence in Urals, even participated in competition as the best STEM lesson and won the 3rd place. And what is STEM? The acronym STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. We have variation on STEM. In STEM, the letter R means art, and in STEM, the letter R means reading and writing. In STEM, the letter E stands for environmental, and in STEM, the extra M stands for music. When we create our STEM lesson plans, we also use 5E module. 5 E's mean engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. All these steps during the lesson lead learners to through the phases and achieve their goals. To become a STEM teacher, it's a part of my day-to-day activities. I like to make my classes fun and practical. Learning by doing is a powerful experience. Building contractors, creating objects from paper or plastic, or using apps to make posters or modular something. The right question will be, how do I collaborate language and learning, STEM learning? My main goal as a linguist is to help my learners to gain confidence in speaking English, then to shape a mindset toward a global one able to solve real problems from real life, to manage a project or task from start to finish. In my classes, learners are not just learning. At the time, they're enjoying becoming creators, inventors, not only consumers. The idea is that all the subjects associated with growth and prosperity, learners have to be active. It's not passive, it's not disengaged, it's not sleepy learners. And why STEM? STEM technology motivates and inspires young people to generate new technologies and ideas. Learners explore a wide range of content and projects, improve the quality of education, and enhance the learning process. STEM education is not just a grouping of different subjects, it's also a campaign to develop deep scientific, mathematical, and problem-solving skills that our learners can use in their future. By introducing this way of thinking in early years, we are laying for foundation for our future leaders. Through STEM, learners can develop key skills as problem solving, communication, teamwork, creativity, work collaboratively, and use them as tools. Toward the end of my talk, I want to say that STEM is growing to represent a unique approach to teaching and learning and build 21st century skills, which are called soft skills. My intention desire is to help my learners to learn English language, speak in English, and use their language skills in real life. That is why I think that STEM education is very important. I like what I'm doing, and we need to prepare creative, innovative generation, not just teaching textbooks. And in conclude, I want to say that STEM education is one of the key to the world. And taking chance, I want to say some words about our project. I am an alumni and advanced English for media literacy. Many thanks to our organizers of the project for opportunity to participate and gain knowledge. And I truly enjoyed this course. The course was very interesting and informative. Nurjat, our trainer, made learning the material fun. Thanks a lot. And now I'm implementing my knowledge in my school and planning to write a course plan as additional course. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mөлдір, for wonderful. So we're coming to our last speaker, Гаукар Нияр. She's a young professional, MA in education. She graduated from University of Ақтөбе, and now she works at Secretary School No. 2 in Aqsa. Her academic article about the Kazakh language and the linguistic consciousness of the Kazakh was published in the International Journal of Humanities and Social Sciences Studies. Now she will share her research outcomes, linguistic and the cultural space, Kazakh and the English fairy tale discourse based on fairy tales.
Hello everyone. So the first of all, I want to say that thank you very much for inviting me, because it's very big experience for young teaching for me, because it's my first year of teaching, and now I work in secondary school. After university, I have a master's degree, and in my diploma work, my dissertation work is fairy tales, using fairy tales in English lessons and comparative method. So first of all, I should say that English is a very difficult subject for all students, for all children, school children, and because it has almost no similarity with Kazakh language, and the biggest problems for students are grammar and vocabularies. And but another difficulty in learning a foreign language is small attempts to master subject, because we are teachers and we must motivate our students. So first of all, I suggest you using fairy tales, because fairy tales are very helpful tools, interesting stories, examples from life. So first of all, using fairy tales for teaching of vocabulary in English class. So first, as you know, the next slide, but there are stories of British fairy tales that I use in my class, because it's very simple, very easy for our children and for all levels. The next slide. And there are text-forming units of Kazakh and English fairy tales. We know that in the fairy tales, there's concept, puzzle words, stylistic devices, purpose, and other words. And we must, the next. And there are words of relatives, cultural words, professional words, and other professional words in English. And we must, choose one fairy tales. And there are a lot of words. For example, that we know that British people is a very polite. That British people use farming, fishing, and other methods. So the next concepts, we know that in fairy tales there are underground worlds, the concept of water, and there are a lot of words related to water, of time, of soul, and that minds and wealth. The next. And there are features of speech that we also not only vocabulary teach our students, but also how we must correctly speak, Missy, my dear lady, and there are also examples from Kazakh fairy tales that used to stick. The next. So also we must affixation words, compound words, prefix. There are a lot of words, very important, and it's very easy to teach our students because any collection of fairy tales of peoples of the world is not only interesting text, also a world history. Yes, a source of necessary knowledge about the culture of countries and the peoples. Every word, every sentence, phrase, and many other lexical units in a fairy tale is not just text forming units, but wonderful expressions of culture and traditions. So therefore, I believe that's a great way to enrich students' vocabulary and the knowledge about culture. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. What grades are you teaching?
All grades, from 2nd to 11th.
Thank you very much.
In British, 10th grade, for example, about Jack, Lazy Jack, and also it's very good for all levels.
Thank you very much.
We have had good discussions.
Okay.
Альбина Абилова, I have one question for you. What kind of difference do you see in such method that done in Kazakhstan on abroad?
Okay, good.
Conducting any kind of research was really applied for national ones, which we have a wide variety of. It depends on the topic that you are researching. As regarding the assessment, for example, we have few researchers nowadays, but this topic is still being discussed, still being explored, as we have recently just changed from traditional type of assessment to the criteria-based, for example. And this refers to the other topics. It depends on the topic.
Give a closing speech to the head of the Department of Foreign Languages and Translation Studies, Associate Professor and Director of the TEO Public Association, Mөлдір Рахымжанова.
Hi everyone again, and my really gratitude to the representatives of the United States Embassy, John, thank you so much, and Olga, because I personally met John last year when he visited Oral here at American Corner. We had a very wonderful discussion, and I worked with Lindsay as well. So, and thank you for all of you, all the teachers, really thank for your contribution in developing English language teaching, especially the methodology. We really highly appreciate, and I really would like to thank our students as well, because I think that this is not just for fun, this is not just for advertisement, okay? This is really something that we would like to share, especially the teachers who are here. They would like to share with their own experience. And please do not be afraid of being a teacher. Being a teacher is really wonderful. So you can see here the young teachers and very prospective teachers. I hope that we will continue working with you. By the way, Альбина Абилова, we have worked with you for a long time, since Eurasian University. And I'm so very happy because we still keep in contact with you as a friend and as a professional teacher. And I'm very happy also to have Nurjan. She's also a former my student, and she graduated from Eurasia, and Albina is also a student. She graduated from Translation Study Department. However, she decided to keep up her teaching career. And guys, I wish you everyone to have a wonderful success in your future career. And I believe, because you are young, you are motivated, and I believe that you are the future of Kazakhstan, because this is already high time to have some changes here, especially in education. And let me believe that with you, with young minds, with young brains, Kazakhstan will be really very strong, competitive country in the world. Thank you so much, and thank you for Nasharkan for wonderful this workshop. If you are interested in having such workshops in future, this is not only for teacher students, I mean for teacher training students, but however, if you are interested in future having some workshops with translators, with real practitioners of translators, we would be very happy to organize. Thank you, and I hope that you have a really nice day.
Thank you very much. So we are ending our today's seminar. Thank you everyone for joining us. Many thanks to speakers who take time to participate and contribute to developing our teaching community in Oral, and a special thanks for teachers who commuted from other districts like Aksay, Tilekten, Tanjayet. Thank you very much. Hope to see you soon.